In 1963, Wall Street almost collapsed. Not because of war, not because of oil. Well, actually, yes, because of oil. Salad oil. The stuff you put on lettuce. One man in New Jersey borrowed $180 million against tanks of salad oil. The tanks were full of seawater. And the people who checked were the most trusted company in America. This is the Great Salad Oil Swindle. Grab a fork. Meet Tino De Angelis, a butcher from the Bronx. Round guy, big smile, bigger promises. In the 50s, he ran a meat company. It sold questionable meat to the National School Lunch Program and overcharged the government. He got caught. Remember this, it will matter to absolutely nobody. Because a few years later, banks lined up to lend him millions. Wall Street has many talents. Memory is not one of them. In 1955, Tino starts a new company, Allied Crude Vegetable Oil, based in Bayonne, New Jersey. Glamorous. And to be fair, Tino delivered. Allied grew into one of the biggest vegetable oil exporters in America. The press called him the Salad Oil King, the least intimidating royal title in history. The business: buy soybean oil, ship it overseas. And to grow fast, Tino needed loans. Lots of loans. Now, banks want collateral. Tino had oil, tanks of it. So the deal worked like this. An inspector looks in your tank, writes a receipt. Yep, oil is here. You take the receipt to a bank, and the bank hands you cash. The receipt is as good as money, as long as, the oil is real. Here is the thing about oil and water. Oil floats. That is the whole scam. That is literally it. Fill a giant tank with seawater. Pour a few feet of oil on top. The inspector opens the hatch, sees oil, smells oil, writes down 1 tank of oil, walks away happy. Underneath, the Atlantic Ocean. And when inspectors came to count all the tanks, Tino's crew got creative. They pumped the same oil from tank to tank while the inspectors were at lunch. Same oil, counted 5 times. Lunch was delicious, by the way. Tino was a wonderful host. Of course he was. Now you are asking, who were these inspectors? Some rinky-dink outfit? No, better. A subsidiary of American Express, the most trusted name in money. Their receipts were gospel. If Amex said the oil existed, banks did not double-check. Why would they? That is the entire point of trust. You see where this is going. Because Tino kept going and going. By 1963, Allied claimed to hold 900,000 tons of oil. Actual amount? 55,000. 16 times more oil than he had. But here is my favorite part. The government publishes how much soybean oil exists in America. It is public. Anyone can read it. Tino's paperwork claimed more oil than existed in the entire United States. All of it. Every drop, plus extra. And nobody ran the numbers. Not the banks, not the brokers. Not the most trusted company in America. One intern with a government pamphlet could have ended this. There was no intern. So what was Tino doing with all the money? Buying soybean oil futures, basically betting the price would rise. His plan? Control so much oil he could set the price himself. Corner the entire market. With borrowed money, secured by imaginary oil. What could go wrong? In November 1963, everything. The futures market turned. Prices fell. Hard. Tino's brokers wanted cash immediately. And Tino's cash was, let me check, seawater. November 19, 1963. Allied files for bankruptcy. Investigators finally dip deeper into the tanks, and up comes the ocean. Tanks and tanks and tanks. Water, water everywhere. The whole? $180 million. Nearly $2 billion in today's money. gone. Well, not gone. It was never there. The blast radius was enormous. 2 major brokerage houses went down. One of them, Ira Hopt & Company, was suspended by the New York Stock Exchange. The first time in history a major firm collapsed because of one customer. Thousands of customer accounts frozen. Panic brewing on Wall Street. The exchange scrambles a rescue plan. The date? November 22, 1963. At 1:41 p.m., mid-crisis, news hits the trading floor. President Kennedy has been shot. The market plunges. Trading halts early. And the biggest fraud in American history becomes a footnote. Overnight, history simply forgot it. Which is the only reason this story feels brand new. Now, American Express. Their subsidiary vouched for the oil, so they were on the hook for millions. Their stock dropped by half. The unsinkable brand, sinking. And watching from Omaha, Nebraska, a 33-year-old investor, not famous yet. His name? Warren Buffett. Buffett looked at the panic and thought, nobody is cutting up their Amex card over salad dressing. The brand is fine. The panic is dumb. So he bet $20 million, a huge chunk of everything he managed, on American Express. Over the next decade, the stock rose roughly 10 times over. That bet helped launch the greatest investing career in history. So yes, Warren Buffett owes part of his fortune to a butcher with tanks of seawater. And Tino? Convicted of fraud and conspiracy. 7 years in prison. Out by 1972. And did prison change him? He got out and went right back to new commodity schemes. Because of course he did. You can take the butcher out of the scam, but apparently that is the entire sentence. So what actually failed here? Not chemistry. Everyone knows oil floats. What failed was much simpler. Everyone assumed someone else had checked. The banks trusted the receipts. The receipts trusted the inspectors. The inspectors trusted the lunch. And nobody ever looked in the tank. Sleep tight. And subscribe for more stories like this one.